Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and this is James Ramos from At the Quarter Pole, and here's my 2026 Jim Dandy pick. And my Jim Dandy pick, it's Talk to Me, Jimmy, and I believe this horse is lone speed in this race, and I definitely know this horse is lone speed in a race in a short five-horse field. He's going to take advantage of that because other horses like Chip Honcho, he's going to try to stalk and be second behind him, and Commandment, Silent Tactic, and Renegade are all closers, and this is just a preview of the Midsummer's Derby, the Travers Stakes. So I have Talk to Me Jimmy as my live long shot. Should be between 5 and 8 to 1 and long shot on the board. He's a tier below these horses, but he has the tactical speed being up front. He can slow the race down and take advantage of the speed favoring Saratoga racetrack. So Talk to Me Jimmy is my number one pick. I like him exactly with Commandment and also Renegade. Now, the horse that really stands out for the Travers is in this race, and that'd be Renegade. Now, he has a devastating close. He regressed in the Belmont Stakes, losing the Golden Temple, but he showed that he's going to regress a little bit considering how well he ran the Kentucky Derby. So that is my exact pick with Talk to Me Jimmy, key box with Commandment and Renegade. And talk about the Midsummer's Derby. Should be a great Midsummer's Derby if everything goes right. Silent Tactic is coming back in the Jim Dandy. He needs a race under his belt. I don't see him really running too bad, but he's not going to come in first or second. That's my opinion. He's better suited to mile 1/4. Renegade doesn't want this race either because there's more prestige in the Travers Stakes. He should improve. Commandment should also improve. And the thing about Commandment, he's really a stalker, not a mid pack closer like he showed in the Florida Derby. He came off the pace. He tried to come out the pace, but he got shut out in the Kentucky Derby. He likes to be a little bit closer, so I think they're going to have to work some. Brad Cox is going to have to work some speed in Commandment to show his better form. That's why Talk to Me Jimmy, though he's a second cut below these horses, shows great value and potential to winning the race, or at least coming exacta. So that is my pick in the Jim Dandy Stakes. Going forward, too, guess what? Of course, it's never too early for me for Breeders' Cup information. And the horse that stood out over last week was Caladigan, showing his devastating close in St. Cloud in France. He was dead last. They were running tempered fractions, 25-4, the half 51 and change, and he still ran these horses down. Question is Caladigan set to run the Breeders' Cup Turf or is Ombudsman? I was on both these horses last year, and both trainers decided not to come over the United States. I don't know why, but maybe they have bigger fish to fry out in Europe. Ombudsman is my number one pick in the turf. Over Caladigan, I think the horse has better turn of foot in the American race here in Keeneland, and that's a John Gonson bring Ombudsman toward the United States. He just has a quicker turn of foot than Caladigan. Caladigan's your European classic long distance closer where he just picks him up late. He's trying to find his cover on the outside and try to mose him down. So if Caladigan does come to the United States for the Breeders' Cup Turf, he would be 6-5. Ombudsman would be 2-1. Hopefully they both show up, but definitely right now, Ombudsman is my turf pick at this moment. Other races like the Breeders' Cup Sprint, I'm thinking there's only two horses in the United States that really should win this race, and Petronado, who won it last year, and Buckham Dano. Buckham Dano won the True North and beat Petronado. Buckham Dano has showed no regression from last year, and just he keeps on winning. So, with all respect, they should be both around about 8-5 for the Breeders' Cup Sprint. Depends who else runs in it, but I don't see anybody really out from the West Coast look like they're going to hinder either one. Sweet Aztec has won the Great Lady in for 3 years. She'll be pointed for the female Breeders' Cup Sprint, and she looked well. But then you have to question the field that she ran against at Los Alamitos. She was scratched out last year. I had her as a choice, but against inferior company out west, does she really have the potential to outgun the best fillies on Breeders' Cup Day in Keeneland? I would say no, but she is interesting. Other news is Nisos has been rumored to be running the Breeders' Cup Classic. Now, I know that Mile 1/8, in my opinion, when he ran in the Saudi Cup, being the great Forever Young, he collapsed, as I mentioned, at the last 16th of a mile. Now he's in peak form, but can this horse stay healthy for another 4 months? If so, is really for Nisos or Mile 1/4 is his best distance? No. So there's two things I have to say. He's kept his health, But the mile and 1/4, I would say definitely not, especially if he goes out and runs with Magnitude. Magnitude has already showed twice he could run a mile and 1/4. Other horse for mention, Sovereignty. If he doesn't, if they don't retire him, if he doesn't show again, his next race out, we know what's going to happen. Sovereignty. Beaza right now has shown 2 great races from the Oakland not the Oakland, the Alashiba, excuse me, the Alashiba Stakes. That when he broke bad and came in 3rd, and he breaks bad again in the Stephen Foster 2nd, only beaten the length by Magnitude. He's the exact that I like with Sovereignty. I still have my hopes of Sovereignty could turn it around. I think what needs to be addressed is, does Bill Mont wants his horse close to the pace between 3 and 4 lengths? As to me, it hasn't worked out as well as he thought it would work out. I think he has to show that potential deep close like he did in the Kentucky Derby, in running second behind Japan Street in the Florida Derby, and a devastating close when he won the Fountain, when he ran down of River Thames. Now, I know that's in the past, but I think they have to have this horse come back from the back of the pace. It should be an honest pace for this year's Breeders' Cup Classic. I don't see 44 and 4 and 45, which is brilliantly fast and good for Sovereignty, but I don't think it's going to be that fast, especially if Nisos decides not to go in the Breeders' Cup Classic, and preferred place would be the Breeders' Cup Mile, where he almost should be unbeatable. But I'll try to beat him with another upcoming contender. Wait to be seen right now. Other horses is going to be news is going to be Forever Young. Forever Young from news is pointed to the Jockey Cup Oak Club. That is a good prep. They don't have to race in Japan, since the Breeders' Cup Classic is not in the West Coast but out east. So it makes sense to bring him out to New York, then ship him down to Keeneland. Now, Forever Young, though, a lot of people were disappointed in his showing of the Dubai Cup, not winning again, but he was second. You got to remember, he was second, only beaten by a length after running that great race in Saudi. The composition of track in Saudi and Dubai are different, though heavily sand-based tracks, but the composition is different. Got to remember, Saudi Cup was a mile 1/8 out of a chute, one-turn chute, while Dubai is a 2-turn mile 1/4. So the jockey, not necessarily, but the horse itself had to get adjusted to know when to make the move, and he just couldn't run down Magnitude. Magnitude, as he did in Stephen Foster, dictated the pace. And one way you wind up having great horses losing to other great horses, when you allow a horse by himself to dictate that pace like Magnitude did in the aforementioned 2 races I just mentioned. Is Magnitude going to dictate the pace in the Breeders' Cup Classic? Not if Nisos runs, and not if it's another King Speed horse. You never know who's also going to pop in there. As in other horses right now, Journalism looks like he's a little bit on the wash-up side. I don't think the Breeders' Cup Classic makes any sense right now. Maybe the Breeders' Cup Mile. If so, Nisos runs against Journalism in the Breeders' Cup Mile, my money's on Journalism. You ask me why. The Met Mile that was won by Nisos was impressive. Got to remember, he was keen to speed. Nisos had the inside, then he dropped back. A lot of the other speed horses go on with it. Journalism, second time out. The 1 mile off the flat rate coming out of one turn maybe not be as good, but I think Journalism, if he shows his true form from a 3-year-old, shows value against Nisos. I mean, at least 4-1. I know that I don't know the rest of the field, but that is my point on that race and how I visually see these races until I get the whole field. So that is my report, ladies and gentlemen. This is James Ramos from At the Quarter Pole, where winning and history run neck and neck. Have a good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.